Indoor advanced setup for multiple radios. This alternative method for setting up multiple indoor radios is slightly more advanced and requires an additional PoE switch and Ethernet cables out to each radio. All power and internet access to the radios is supplied by the PoE Plus switch. Please note, choose PoE Plus switches and accessories carefully in actual deployment. Power requirements vary based on product types and number of equipment being connected. The Bobber 500 is optimized for heat dissipation and is equipped with a fanless chassis to prevent dust. It's also manufactured with industrial-grade components that are built to outlast its competitors. The Bobber 500 utilizes a next-generation CPU for high performance and is equipped with high-capacity memory and storage. You can also monitor all the Bobber 500 stats on the Bobber app, which gives you the ability to remote monitor radio heartbeat, download/upload speeds, latency, and much more. Setup list. For this guide, you'll need a Bobber 500 5G miner, an internet router, a gigabit PoE Plus switch with at least 4 inputs, 1 to 3 indoor radios. To get started on wiring your multi-radio setup, you'll need to first connect the Ethernet cable from your internet router to the back of the Bobber 500 into the WAN port, like this. Next, you'll need to run an Ethernet cable from the ENB1 port on the back of the Bobber 500 to provide internet access to your gigabit PoE Plus switch. If you don't see one on yours, then plug into the first or number 1 port on your PoE switch, like this. Now that you have provided internet access to your PoE switch, each port on your switch can now send internet and power to each of your outdoor radios. If you have 3 radios, then you will need 3 Ethernet cables. One from each PoE port you have access to on your switch out to each of the indoor radios, like this. Since you have provided power and Ethernet through the same Ethernet cable, this installation scenario does not require you to provide an external power supply to power the indoor radios. Pursuant, you have purchased a properly spec'd PoE Plus switch and adequate power for a minimum of 3 or more radios as outlined in this example. If you have followed all of these steps correctly, you should have successfully set up the Bobber 500 with multiple indoor CBRS radios.